Ladies and gentlemen, the agenda will be started. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The Honorable Vice Rector for Academic Affairs, Siliwangi University, Professor Dr. Haji Deden Mulyana SAMSI, the Honorable, the Head of Institute for Research, Community Services and Education Quality Assurance, Siliwangi University, Dr. Haji Supratman MPD, the Honorable, the Director of Postgraduate Program, Siliwangi
Unmute, please.
the keynote speaker from Japan, Professor Masaji W. PhD, the keynote speaker from Egypt, Professor Ashraf Badawi, the keynote speaker from Singapore, Irianto Safari Master of Science, the keynote speaker from Siliwangi University, Dr. Hajah Ida Hodiah MP, and all the distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Alhamdulillah, the pandemic will never stop us from being productive and innovative. Therefore, we could meet here in the third Siliwangi International Conference on Innovation in Research 2020 with the theme, The Challenges and Opportunities for Using Technology During the COVID Pandemic-19 Era, that hold by Institute for Research, Community Services and Education Quality Assurance, Siliwangi University, 20th November 2020 in Zoom meeting. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the agenda. First, opening. Second, praying. Third, singing the national anthem Indonesia Raya, hymn of Siliwangi University and Mars of Siliwangi University. Fourth, general remark. Fifth, welcoming speech and official opening. Sixth, closing. Ladies and gentlemen, as opening and the ceremony, let's recite Basmalah together. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Second, praying. In this time, it will be led by Dr. Romi Faisal. Please.
Thank you for your time. Ladies and gentlemen, let us pray with the Arabic language. اللهم صل على سيدنا وحبيبنا وشفيعنا وكريمنا ودخلنا مولانا محمد وسلم رضي الله تبارك وتعالى عن كل صحابة رسول الله أجمعين آمين يا الله يا متبع الساعدين حمدا نعيمين حمد الشاكرين حمدا يوافي نعمه وفي مزيدا يا ربنا لك الحمد كما ينبغي لجلال وجهك الكريم وعظيم سلطانك اللهم اجعلنا وأزواجنا وأولادنا وذرياتنا من أهل الخير اللهم اجعل أولادنا كلهم صالحا وطاعة وأمرهم طويلا وارزقهم واسعا وعقولهم زكيا وقلوبهم نورا وعلومهم نافعا كثيرا وجسادهم صحة وعافية برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين اللهم ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب يا عزيز يا رحمن يا غفور يا ذا الجلال والإكرام ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع الدعاء ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار سبحان ربنا رب العزة أما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Singing National Anthem Indonesia Raya, hymn of Siliwangi University and Mars of Siliwangi University. Ladies and gentlemen are pleased to stand up.
Dengan jiwa semangat Siliwangi mengemban cita Ibu Pertiwi, mengabdi ilmu bagi manusia, membangun masa depan cemerlang. Universitas Siliwangi, lambang abadi insan berbudi, harapan jaya sepanjang masa bagimu negeriku Indonesia. Derap semangat bergelora, berkibar panji kejayaan, genapkan juang, bersiap sedia, tetaplah di depan, atasi kebodohan, cerdaskan bangsa Indonesia, sejahtera kita semuanya, kuatkan tekad, bijak bermartabat, negara merdeka kan tetap kita jaga. Abdi bakti bagi Pertiwi, karya juangku sepanjang hayat. Universitas Siliwangi takkan lelah, takkan pernah menyerah.
Ladies and gentlemen are pleased to have a seat. General remark from the head of Institute for Research, Community Services and Education Quality Assurance, Siliwangi University. Dr. Haji Supratman, MPD, please.
The Honorable Vice Rector for Academic Affairs, distinguished keynote speaker, distinguished presenter, distinguished guests and ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. All praises are due to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, who has been giving us guidance, happiness, healthy, blessing, and mercy, so we can attend and participate in this event without any trouble and obstacle. And solution upon our Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the last message, the best figure of the universe. Welcome to the Siliwangi International Conference on Innovation in Research, year 2020, for all keynote speaker, presenter, and participant. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the objective of the third year 2020 demonstrates the change and opportunities for using technology during the COVID-19 pandemic era. Is exchange and share ideas, as well as research finding from all speakers. In addition, it provides and forums for those who involved in discussing the most recent innovation, trend, concern, particular challenge, a country and the solution, adoption, and deploy of the technological use during the pandemic era. It is related to the change and the opportunities. Ladies and gentlemen, as a chairperson of the conference, I would like to express my sincere gratitude and honor to all keynote speakers. The Honorable Dr. Insinyur Pasiti Yanti Nurwandani, MP, Sekretaris Jenderal Dikti, Kementerian Pendidikan dan Kebudayaan Republik Indonesia, Profesor Masaji Watanabe, Okayama University, Japan, Profesor Ashraf Badawi, Jewa University of Science and Technology, Mr. Irianto Safari, MSc, Smart City Audio Visual, Artificial Intelligence in Singapore, and Dr. Hajah Ida Khadijah, MP, Siliwangi University, Indonesia. My gratitude is also addressed to all the persons and participants of such year 2020. Due to COVID-19, the search year 2020 is unable to be held face to face. We are now seeing each other through a screen in this case with Zoom meeting. However, I hope that this does not make things less than we used to be, and we still very happy to have all of you here at our virtual conference, the Search Year 2020. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the participants of this event consist of lecturer, student, and person who has interest in the field of technology used during the COVID-19 pandemic era. The aim of this conference is to bring together scholars and experts to share the idea from various fields of study such as political science, religious study, culture and humanities, economy and business, then teaching and education, healthy science, and engineering, which focus on exploring the challenges and the opportunities when use technology during this COVID-19 pandemic era. We need now more than ever innovative ideas and successful approach to using technology for our teaching and learning. Ladies and gentlemen, I put high expectation that this conference could become a place for us to share and discuss what we have found with regard to the change and opportunities of using technology for our teaching and learning process during the pandemic era. Most importantly, we need to find our how to implement our finding so the change can be related in effective manner. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the organizing committee, we express our thanks to the rector of Siliwangi University and all vice rector for the support, as well as the various parties that have helped organize this event virtual. Hopefully this event can inspire other units to hold similarly event to that the name of Siliwangi University is increasingly recognized nationally and internationally. All in all, on behalf of the organizing committee of the third CCR 1990, we would like to express for our apology for the inconvenience that you will probably express during the virtual conference. I wish you beautiful and wonderful conference. Finally, allow me to invite Professor Dr. Deden Haji Deden Mulyana, SAMSE, as the Vice Rector for Academic Affairs of Siliwangi University to officially open the third Siliwangi International Conference on Innovation in Research 2020. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Welcoming speech from the Vice Rector for Academic Affairs, Siliwangi University, as well as officially opening the third Siliwangi International Conference on Innovation in Research 2020. The Honorable Professor Dr. Haji Deden Mulyana, SAMSE, please.
Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Warmest greetings to all of us. The Honorable Dr. Insinyur Faristianti Nurwandani, MP, Sekretaris Dirjen Dikti, Kementerian Pendidikan dan Kebudayaan Republik Indonesia. The Honorable Professor Masaji Watanabe, PhD, Okayama University, Japan. Professor Ashraf Badawi, UL University, Mesir. Irianto Safari, MSc, Professional Expert, Smart City Audiovisual Artificial Intelligence, Singapore. And Dr. Haja Ida Khodiah, MP, Dekan Fakultas Pertanian, Universitas Siliwangi, Indonesia. The Head of Institute for Research, Community Services, and Education Quality Assurance, LP2M PMP, Siliwangi University, and the committee. Distinguished guests, presenters, and the 2020 SICHIR participants. First of all, I would like to express my deepest gratitude to the Almighty Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala for His constant blessing and grace in our lives. Salutation is given Prophet Muhammad SAW for his guidance on our daily lives. It is many privilege and pleasure on behalf of the Rector of Siliwangi University to welcome you to the third SICHIR 2020. Due to the COVID-19, this year SICHIR is unable to be held face-to-face as mentioned by the head of Institute for Research Community Service and Education Quality Assurance, LP2M Siliwangi University. We are now seeing each other through a screen. However, I hope that this does not make things less than we used to be. With this year's the challenge and opportunity for using technology during the COVID-19 pandemic era. The current virtual conference shows how technology can be the opportunity for us to sustain our activity despite the travel restriction. This conference, however, would not be possible without the help of many. Therefore, allow me to express my sincere gratitude to the committee, LP2M for making this conference come through their hard work and commitment to innovation and research. Ladies and gentlemen, the COVID-19 pandemic is perhaps the best lesson we learned in this century. Its impact hits almost every single aspect of life. We change the way we do dramatically in just a matter of days. In education, particularly, the impact changes the way we teach, how we think about technology, and how we perceive education as a whole. Months ago, We perhaps never thought that online teaching trend would come this fast. So, of us, we not even aware of the role of technology in education. There are still many educators who resent the use of technology in the classroom. However, with the current situation, we do not have any choice but to adopt it and get used to it as part of our teaching. In other words, education stakeholders are forced to shift their teaching online. We have to learn how to use it, how it works, and how it facilitates the teaching learning process. However, as in any sudden changes, we are not prepared. The current situation creates many issues, not only for educators, but also for students. In developing countries such as Indonesia, the situation exacerbates. From teacher perspective, many lack technological knowledge that result in ineffective online teaching. While from a student perspective, the situation could be worse. While this may not be quite an issue for urban education, for those living in remote places with a lack of internet access, the teaching and learning process might have to stop. These two main issues are what makes online teaching often challenging. When the first requirement, such as internet access, is not met, it is hard to go to the next step. I believe that this situation does not only happen in Indonesia, but also in other nations. Therefore, we need a place where everyone gather and discuss the issues. Exchanging ideas is very crucial in the time of trying, such as now. We educators, researchers, and practitioners should work hard in hand each other to maintain our teaching standard and quality education. And today, at this very moment, we are here to talk about it. We bring to the table each innovation from different contexts of study. We will listen to our experience in dealing with technology for school improvement during this disruptive era. Therefore, I put a high expectation that this conference could become a place for us to present and discuss what we have found regarding the role of technology during the COVID-19 pandemic. Most importantly, we need to find out how innovative teaching ideas and inspiring problem solving is using technology for our classroom. I hope his conference could be the platform where many innovative ideas will be born and recommendation will be drafted. This meeting among scholars and experts is one of the best ways to learn from each other. Be aware of the current trend from each field and ultimately build networking. I believe that building nation of the world cannot be done alone. There needs to be strong cooperation and good communication among us to achieve mutual understanding and benefit. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, let me express my gratitude to the keynote speakers and guests for attending this event, the committee for their outstanding work, and all presenters for submitting their papers. By saying Basmalah, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, I officially open the third Siliwangi International Conference on Innovation in Research, SICIR 2020. I hope the conference can be fruitful and that all of you enjoy the activities. Thank you so much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. The opening ceremony of the third Siliwangi International Conference on Innovation in Research 2020 with the theme, The Challenges and Opportunities for Using Technology During the COVID Pandemic-19 Era, that held by Institute for Research, Community Services and Education Quality Assurance, Siliwangi University, 28 November 2020 has finished. Ladies and gentlemen, before we are going to the next agenda, let's enjoy the performance from Siliwangi University Choir with the song titled Gundul Gundul Paco. Enjoy the video. Ladies and gentlemen, in the third Siliwangi International Conference on Innovation in Research 2020, with the theme, The Challenges and Opportunities for Using Technology During the COVID Pandemic-19 Era, the whole by Institute for Research, Community Services and Education Quality Assurance Siliwangi University, we have 5 keynote speakers that come from Indonesia, Japan, Egypt, and Singapore. All right, in the first session, there are 2 keynote speakers that will be accompanied by the moderator, Mrs. Dea Silvani MPD. The floor is yours.
All right, thank you so much for the Master of Ceremony for giving me a chance to lead the first session. Well, ladies and gentlemen, good morning from Tasikmalaya, Indonesia. I am Dea Silvani and I will be serving as your moderator for the first session. I'm very glad to have each one of you assembling with us in the third Siliwangi International Conference on Innovation in Research 2020. In this first session, we are going to have 2 speakers, of course, expert in their field, coming from different countries that will be joining us from 9 until 10:20. And then for the first speaker, we are going to have Ibu Dr. Insinyur Paristianti Nurwardani MP, Sekretaris Dirjen Pendidikan Tinggi Kementerian Pendidikan dan Kebudayaan. And then the second one, we are going to have Professor Watanabe Masaji from Okayama University, Japan. Besides, we will also still have 2 more great speakers in the second session with Mr. Irianto Safari MSc from Smart City Audiovisual Artificial Intelligence Singapore and Ibu Dr. Hajah Ida Hodiah MP from Siliwangi University with Ms. Vera Solastri as your moderator in the second session. All right, ladies and gentlemen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, before we begin the presentation, let me give you some information that each speaker has 40 minutes for their presentation. And then the Q&A session will begin later after the second speaker have accomplished her presentation. And then during the conference, we expect the participants to turn on the camera and mute your audio during the presentation. For those who wish to ask a question, we encourage you to type your question in the chat box and please mention to whom you address your question to in order to help the committee in sorting out the questions. And then for the first session, it seems like Ibu Dr. Insinyur Paristianti haven't joined us yet. I think without further ado, let me welcome our first speaker, Professor Watanabe. Because it seems like
okay.
All right, okay, Professor. But before we begin your presentation, let me introduce you to our participants. So, ladies and gentlemen, Professor Watanabe, sorry. Right. Ladies and gentlemen, Professor Watanabe Masaji, holding 2 titles, Emeritus Professor from Okayama University and also a specially appointed Professor in Research from Okayama University too. And he is now working in Graduate School of Environmental and Life Science in Okayama University, Tsushimanaka, Kitaku, Okayama, Japan. And his research field is in applied mathematics, and he is also a PhD in mathematics from University of Utah, 1987. And here are some recent publications of Professor Watanabe in the last 5 years. In the screen, we can see there are lots of works of Professor Watanabe, which some of them is disseminated in different international conferences, and some of them also published in different journals, international journals. And then his latest work entitled Mathematical Modeling and Inverse Analysis for Microbial Depolymerization Process of Xenobiotic Polymers, which is published in Journals of Material Science and Chemical Engineering. And besides those amazing works, Professor Watanabe also received several awards. The first one is the base paper in the third International Conference on Advances in Intelligent Systems in Bioinformatics, Cheminformatics, Business Intelligence, Social Media, and Cybernetics in 2015. And the next one also the best presenter award and the recent trend in Science and Engineering Research International Conference, which is held in Penang, Malaysia. And last but not least, he also received the IRIS Excellent Paper Award in the 134th the IRIS International Conference, which is held in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think it is time for us to welcome our first speaker, Professor Watanabe. The Zoom floor is yours.
Okay. Can you see?
Yes, I can see.
Sure, we can see your slides.
Okay. My name is Masaji Watanabe, and my lecture is entitled Study of Mathematical Techniques for Practical Application. Abstract. Mathematical techniques are indispensable. Please let me stop here. I'll set PowerPoint. Abstract. Mathematical techniques are indispensable scientific methods for analysis of phenomena when observed data are unavailable. They are also useful tools for confirmation of essentials when observed data are also, even when observed data are available. This presentation demonstrates mathematical techniques with examples. So, outline one demonstration of mathematical techniques for biodegradation of xenobiotic polymers. Two, demonstration of mathematical techniques for analysis of underwater topography. So, one demonstration of mathematical techniques for biodegradation of xenobiotic polymer, and contents of this part are based on results from joint studies with Professor Sako Kawai, Emeritus Professor, Okayama University. Abstract. This part focuses on microbial depolymerization processes of xenobiotic polymers. The following slides describe mathematical models and inverse problems for a time factor and a molecular factor of degradation rate. Introduction. Polymers, polymer molecules consist of repeated repeated monomers. And for example, polyethylene consists of repeated ethylenes. Though those macromolecules are chemically inert at room temperature, produced at low cost and characterized by high functionality. And those polymers include water-soluble polymers, which are not tractable to recycling or incineration. Those macromolecular substances had been non-existent before they were artificially produced. Yet some of those compounds are utilized by microorganisms as carbon sources. Various studies of microbial depolymerization process have been reported. For example, one, utilization of linear paraffin molecules of molecular weight 500 or below by several microorganisms. Two, oxidation of normal alkanes up to tetra content in 20 days. Three, slow degradation of polyethylene was confirmed by measurement of 14 CO2 generation. 4. Microbial consortium KH12 obtained from soil samples degraded polyethylene. Industrial products, so-called plastics, have been produced since an early part of last century. Many of those macromolecules are petroleum-based, and they had been accumulated over the surface of the Earth to be potential sources of carbon dioxide. Plastic products are broken up into small pieces, so-called microplastics, in the ocean. Now, the health issue of biological concentration through food chain is now concerned. So it's important to study microbial depolymerization processes from the environmental standpoint. There are two types of microbial depolymerization processes. One type is exogenous type, and the other type is endogenous type. In exogenous type depolymerization processes, molecules undergo weight reduction due to liberation of monomer units from their terminals. In endogenous type depolymerization processes, molecules reduce through arbitrary scission. So endogenous type example of polymers subject to exogenous type depolymerization processes include polyethylene and polyethylene glycol. Examples of endogenous type depolymerization, examples of polymers subject to endogenous type depolymerization processes include polyvinyl alcohol and polylactic acid. We have studied biodegradation of the following polymers: polyethylene, polyethylene glycol, and polyvinyl alcohol, polylactic acid. So to summarize, polymers are repeated monomers and chemically inert at room temperature and produced low cost, and they are characterized by high functionality. And biodegradation is an important factor against undesirable accumulation of water-soluble polymers as well as water-insoluble polymers. 3, many polymers are petroleum-based materials, and they are potential sources for carbon dioxide emission. So microbial depolymerization processes should be studied. So isolated bacteria or fungi was cultivated in culture media in which photodegraded polyethylene resin or polyethylene wax was the sole carbon source, and weight distribution before and after cultivation were compared. Examples of experimental results obtained in cultivation of fungus Aspergillus are shown. So figure 1 shows weight distributions before and after cultivation of Aspergillus species AK3 for 3 weeks before cultivation. So this is the weight distribution before cultivation and weight distribution after cultivation for 3 weeks, and weight distribution after cultivation for 5 weeks. So example of modeling and analysis of polyethylene biodegradation. And in normal alkane such as polyethylene follow oxidative metabolic pathways of hydrocarbon, like such as terminal oxidation, D-terminal oxidation, subterminal oxidation. After a polyethylene molecules is metabolized in oxidative pathway of hydrocarbon, it is carboxylated at the terminal to be structurally analogous to fatty acid and subject to beta oxidation. 2 carbon unit is liberated in 1 cycle of beta oxidation. So we came up with this polyethylene biodegradation scenario that large polyethylene molecules reduce in size through successive beta oxidation processes until it becomes small enough to be absorbed directly into cells. So in the following analysis, T is the time, M is the molecular weight, L is molecular weight liberated in 1 cycle of beta oxidation, which is 28 for CH2, CH2, X is a function of T and M. It's total weight of molecules with molecular weight M. Y equals the function of T, Y equals W T N plus L, total weight of molecules or molecular weight M plus L. Beta M is beta oxidation rate. So then the total weight of polymer molecules with molecular weight right between A and B is the integral of WTM integral from A to B with respect to M. Then the increase and decrease in total weight molecules of molecular weight M per unit time is beta M plus L times M divided by M plus L times Y and minus beta MX. The time rate of change in the total weight of molecules, molecular weight M is dx dt, then principle of mass conservation, which is time rate of change in total mass, is the difference between increase and decrease per unit time, leads to this equation 1, dx dt equals minus beta mx plus beta m plus L times m divided m plus L divided by m plus L times y. Then associated with differential equation is an initial value problem with initial condition 2, and inverse problem is a given additional weight distribution at Gm at T equals T, capital T, find beta M for which the solution of the initial value problem 1, 2 that satisfies the additional condition WTM equals GM. So I have solved inverse problem for the degradation rate for the weight distribution before and after cultivation of fungus Aspergillus species AK3 for 3 weeks. So this figure 2 shows numerical solution of the inverse problem. Graph of it's a graph of beta M. So once the degradation rate was obtained, the initial value problem was solved numerically and the degradation process was simulated. So those figures show numerical solution of initial value problem for T equals 3 and T equals 5. Weight distributions before and after cultivation for 3 weeks and 5 weeks are also shown. Those are 3 weeks and 5 weeks. Okay, so we can even observe the transition continuously by this movie. So this is a movie showing numerical solution of initial value problem for 5 weeks. Okay. I will show you an example of modeling and analysis for polyethylene glycol biodegradation. Polyethers are utilized for a number of products, including lubricants, anti-freezing agents, inks, and cosmetics, and also for raw materials to synthesize detergents or polyurethanes. Polyethers are either water soluble or oily liquid and eventually discharged into the sewage or directly into the environment after use. Polyethylene glycol is produced in the largest quantity among polyethers, and its major part is consumed in production of non-ionic surfactants. Polyethylene glycol is subject to exogenous type depolymerization processes. HPLC analysis of polyethylene glycol 4000 biodegradation. Sphingophyxis macroglotabidus strain 103 was cultivated in a culture medium in which polyethylene glycol was the only carbon source. Weight distributions before and after cultivation were compared with outcomes from HPLC analysis. So weight distribution before and after cultivation for 7 days were obtained by transformation from the retention time to molecular weight according to standards, shift according to the baselines, and scaling by weight. So this is the original HPLC outputs depending on retention time. So this figure shows you standards for retention time versus molecular weight. So then we the original output given in terms of the retention time were transformed according to the standards and shifted according to the baselines to set the weight distribution with respect to the molecular weight before and after cultivation of Sphingophyxis macroglotabidus strain 103 for 1 day, 3 days, 5 days, and 7 days. Now for mathematical analysis, as before, T is the time, M is molecular weight, WTM weight distribution with respect to the molecular weight, time T,
Excuse me,
which
sir.
means total weight
Excuse me,
of the
Professor
castle.
You have 7 minutes more for your presentation.
7 minutes?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Then molecular weight it's, between A and B at time t is this integral 1, and integral 2 is the residual polymer in the culture medium. So integral 2 is replaced with integral 1 for appropriate values. 40. So now at the mathematical model, I have we are the figure 6 shows notable growth and decay of microbial population. So microbial population sigma t is introduced. So in equation 4, please note that time rate of change of microbial population is difference between the increasing rate proportional to both total carbon source and microbial population and the mortality rate. So we have those equation 3 and 4. Equations 3 and 4 forms initial value problems with initial value. Inverse problem, but before we solve initial value problem, we must solve inverse problem for degradation rate. So, and the change of variable, this change of variables, these from equation 3 to 4 to equation 8 and 9. And then now equation 8 is independent of sigma now. So techniques for operation biodegradation were applied to the inverse problem. Figure 7, next figure shows molecular factor of the degradation rate beta m based on the weight distribution before and after the cultivation of single pixels macrogrowth the strain 103 for 3 days. Okay, this is the graph of beta m. So now to solve the initial, we still have to find sigma 0 values of sigma 0 k and h appropriate for the biodegradation process. So we divided sigma 0 intervals and k intervals and h intervals for some equally spaced intervals, and we tried those values of sigma 0 k and h for h, n1 equals 5, n2 equals 5, n3 equals 5. And then but values of sigma 0 k that minimize the error between numerical solutions, and experimental data are those values of sigma 0 k and h shown here. Figure 9, figure 8, 9, 10, and 11 show numerical results for T1 equals 1, T2 equals 3, T2 equals 5, T3 equals 5, T4 equals 7. So this is shows numerical results for weight distribution after cultivation of the microorganisms for 1 day. Figure 9 shows numerical results for weight distribution after calculation of single pixels macrogrowth strain 103 for 3 days. And this shows figure 10 shows numerical result for weight distribution after cultivation for 5 days. And this figure 11 shows numerical result for weight distribution after cultivation of the microorganisms for 7 days. And this is the numerical result for transition of the microbial population over 7 days. Discussion. I described mathematical techniques for exogenous type depolymerization process of polyethylene and polyethylene glycol 4000. And then I showed you how to solve the inverse problems for beta M, and then I showed you how I found values of sigma 0k and H appropriate for microbial depolymerization process to simulate polyethylene glycol exogenous type depolymerization process of polyethylene glycols 4000. This is the movie that shows you.
Sorry, sir.
Okay,
Your time is
I will
okay.
stop. This is the acknowledgement. We also thank Mrs. White Sims for her technical support. Some of the references, and those are references. Okay, I have second part, but I don't have time, so I stop here. Thank you for your attention.
All right. Thank you so much for Professor Watanabe for your amazing presentation about mathematical techniques which you applied in biodegradation of xenobiotic polymers and also in analysis of underwater cyclographs. For our participants, if you have any questions to Professor Watanabe, you can simply type your question in the chat box. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it seems like our speaker, Ibu Dr. Insinyur Paristianti Nurwardani, MP, from Dirjen Pendidikan Tinggi Kementerian Pendidikan dan Kebudayaan, has joined this room. And before we go to Ibu Dr. Paris' presentation, let me introduce her to all the participants. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as we can see on the screen, that Ibu Dr. Insinyur Paristianti Nurwardani MP has a lot of amazing working experience. She started his career as Widya Iswara di Pusat Pengembangan dan Penataran Guru Kejuruan Kemendikbud in 1990 until 2010. And then she was also the Dean of Faculty in Applied Science, Surya Kencana University, Cianjur, and also the consultant in ISO and also World Bank, the manager in Indonesian German Institute, diplomat in Indonesia Embassy in Manila, and then deputy director for CMOLEC, and also responsible for program pendidikan profesi guru vokasi, and also the directors in some programs, and then PLT, Direktur Pendidikan Pembelajaran dan Kemahasiswaan di Dikti Kementerian Pendidikan dan Kebudayaan from October 2019 until February 2019. And now she is the secretary di Direktorat Jenderal Pendidikan Tinggi Kementerian dan Pendidikan Kebudayaan from February 2020 until now. Besides, she also obtained her bachelor degree from Institut Pertanian Bogor, Pendidikan Profesi Guru Akta 4 in Universitas Negeri Jakarta as the best graduate with the perfect GPA 4.0. And then she also obtained her magister and also doctoral degree from Brawijaya University. And she also received several awards. The first one is the first winner of Echelon 2 Leadership Training in LAN Jakarta 2017, and also Top 99 Innovations Ministry of Pan-RB 2019, and also Inspirational Figure for Tax Inclusion Awareness, Directorate General of Taxes, Ministry of Finance 2019. All right, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's welcome Ibu Dr. Insinyur Paristianti Nurwardani MP. The Zoom floor is yours.
Okay, first of all, I would like to thank to Siliwangi University who invite actually Pak Dirjen, yeah, to invite Pak Dirjen, but Pak Dirjen today have to go to Gajah Mada University because they have the several activities in terms of the student affair. So because of that, Pak Dirjen signed me to attend this very important meeting. So SAISIR, is it correct? Yeah, SAISIR, the third Siliwangi International Conference of Innovation in Research 2020. And then I'm really also glad to have Professor Masaji Watanabe, who has a very beautiful presentation and then very awesome presentation. Hopefully maybe Universitas Siliwangi and Okayama University Japan can set up the collaboration in the future. And also I would like to thank to Dr. Ashraf Badawi from Cairo University, as well as Bapak Irianta Safari from Singapore, who always participate in this very important webinar, SAISIR, the third SAISIR 2020, developed by Universitas Siliwangi. Bapak Ibu, could I share my presentation? Okay, Honorable Pak Rektor, Honorable Professor from Siliwangi University, and then Honorable Dean from many faculty in Siliwangi University, as well as faculty member, and then my beloved student from Siliwangi University. Now I would like to share a little bit in terms of the using technology for learning during COVID-19 pandemic, and then I would like to share our experience around 9 months when we have also to live together with COVID-19, but in terms of our Tridharma perguruan tinggi, we still also have to be really productive, yeah, in terms of the learning and education as well as in research like UNSIL today have, and also our social activities. Ladies and gentlemen, so COVID-19 pandemic is the mega disruptor of the century. We know every single activities in our life is changed, totally changed, yeah. Every morning we have to really clear, and then we have to use our health mask, and also we have to take some medicine or maybe some vitamin, yeah, to make our body is really immune to COVID-19. So this is this is the really the mega disruptor of the century. And also we change also our mode in terms of the learning. So all the university in Indonesia, around 90% change from regular learning to online and distant learning. But I'm really happy because all the activities in Siliwangi University really very good mode, yeah, in terms of the pendidikan jarak jauh or online learning. So congratulations to Siliwangi University who are really can face the mega disruptor and also the pandemic COVID, yeah, to be always productive like today. Okay. So ladies and gentlemen, yeah, around 8 months, we live together with the COVID-19, and then this is the strategic policy in response to COVID-19. Ministry of Education and Culture has delivered the instruction on March 9, 2020, study from home. Yeah, and then, yeah, to fight, yeah, with COVID-19, Ministry of Education and Culture also mobilizing medical faculty and also university hospital for testing center for COVID. So in that day, we test around 8,500 tests a day, but today we test around 37,000 tests a day from 13 rumah sakit pendidikan. Okay, and then we have also 13 university hospital. We preparing also 18,000 bed at training center for self-isolation. And then also we have the student volunteer around 15,000. Now we will expand the student volunteer until around 100,000 to face our new normal in 2020. Also, our strategic policy mobilizing and promoting campuses to conduct applied research, regulation of learning process in new normal situation, and then civitas academic as the agent of change in 3M. Jangan lupa Bapak Ibu, pakai masker, cuci tangan, jaga jarak ya. So 3M. So the national support for online learning. So we try to collaborate with the internet provider, and then collaboration with content provider, and also collaboration with the platform owner such as university, Indonesia Cyber Education, Universitas Terbuka or Open University, Google Suite, Amazon Web Service, and so on. And then I'm really happy because when we try to survey on April 2020 that 98% transform into online learning. So as well as in Siliwangi University. So because of that, Bapak Ibu sekalian, ladies and gentlemen, we are really very proud of you because you adapt the situation of COVID-19 pandemic. Bapak Ibu, ladies and gentlemen, now we know that our challenge is Industry 4.0 and Society 5.0. So the advantages of COVID-19 pandemic, because we are really try to accelerate our digital transformation, and then now we already face our online learning with 98% universities really ready to have the online learning, as well as hybrid learning for new normal on 2021. And then Bapak Ibu, ladies and gentlemen, next year we will try to open our university gate to our student, but still we have to really convince our student, please use the strict protocol if they would like to visit campus to have the hybrid learning on 2020. Ladies and gentlemen, the global labor shifting is around 75 million until 375 million. And then the workforce will be replaced by artificial intelligence around 2 million workforce. Because of that, your curricula in Universitas Siliwangi should be insert the new literacy like big data, AI, Internet of Things, and then any new literacy that you have to convince and you have also to really adapt in the digital era. Ladies and gentlemen, so because we have the pandemic COVID-19, so in Directorate General of Higher Education, we try to using a technology as our solution to deliver our courses. So we are using SPADA Indonesia, and then on April 2020, we have really support SPADA Indonesia to facilitate our student and faculty member to have the quality of online learning. Ladies and gentlemen, just for your information, in Indonesia, we have more than 4,000 universities and polytechnic. That is more big that the number of university in Europe, yeah, as well as also in China. In China, they only have around 900 university, but in Indonesia we have 4,000 university, from the small universities until the really big universities. And then hopefully Siliwangi University will growth very fast, and I'm really sure Prof. Rudi will be give Siliwangi University the good direction, and then hopefully University of Siliwangi will be the world-class university as soon as possible. And then, ladies and gentlemen, in Indonesia we have 34,000 study program. This is really very huge. Yeah, if we try to compare with the study program in Europe. Yeah, in Europe maybe around 20,000 study program only. And then we have the lecturer atau faculty member around 286,000 faculty member, and then we have the active student around 8 million. So ladies and gentlemen, this is the policy direction and strategy from Directorate General of Higher Education. The first policy is increasing higher education enrollment. So because of that, we try to push the PJJ or online learning to be our mode in 2021. So at the end of this year, we will provide LMS for every single student, around 1 million student, and then free of charge. And then 2021, we would like also to offer the LMS for our student, around 8 million student, and then also free of charge. Hopefully, this policy will be increased higher education enrollment in Indonesia. So ladies and gentlemen, the second policy is strengthening the quality and relevance of higher education. So because of that, we have the Campus Merdeka. That means 3 semesters should be off campus, and then you have to get internship as well as this credit transfer with your partner university. The third policy is strengthening the quality of lecturer and education personnel. So start from 2020, all the university should have the practitioner to teach in your university, as well as in the same regulation, the faculty member from Siliwangi University have to teach in industry or to teach in other university as the partner. So because of that, you will get the relation between curricula in your university with the industry need. So the fourth, strengthening the governance of higher education. If you know, now we try to convince the Kemenpan RB to get reformasi birokrasi as well as zona integritas for every university in Indonesia. The same thing in Secretariat General of Higher Education, Sesditjendikti or Secretary of Directorate General of Higher Education also try to face the zona integritas or integrity zone, yeah, to make everything is accountable and also no corruption. Yeah, so hopefully you can also join with our new program in higher education like Siliwangi University to be also follow the integrated zone, yeah, in terms of the Menpan RB program. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the transformation of higher education in Indonesia. In the past, if your rector, Prof. Rudi, have to sign the success indicator with Pak Menteri or Mas Menteri, they have around 22 until 28 the indicator. But now we will make this is very simple, but it's really very high quality. Yeah, so now the key performance indicator between Prof. Rudy and Mas Menteri, the first one is graduate get decent job. Yeah, the second, student are earning off campus experience like internship, community project, teaching research, entrepreneurship, student exchange, as well as credit transfer between Siliwangi University with your partner in Japan or in Egypt. Yeah, lecturer are being active outside the university. Like I said, so every single faculty member in Siliwangi University have to collaborate with your partner, and then you have to teach a student for your partner university. After that, you can get the best practices from your partner university, and then you have to disseminate in your own university. Practitioner teach at campus. Now you have to communicate with the every industry, and then you have to invite them to teach in Siliwangi University. Because of that, we would like also to increase the relevancies between curricula in Siliwangi University with the industrial need. The fifth indicator or success indicator, lectures, achievement, and innovation are utilized by community and recognized internationally. So if you have something like research, you have also to make your research is really very useful for the community or recognized by international ecosystem. So because of that, I would like to invite you, please, you can join with the Kedai Reka, and then the website address is kedaireka.kemendikbud.go.id. We offer around 13 million US dollar, US dollar, to make your research will be very useful for the community. So after this webinar, please join with the Kedai Reka platform, and then register your innovation, and then you will get partner the investor from many industry in Indonesia, as well as also we will have a partner from Japan, because we will also merge innovation from Japan with Kedai Reka platform. So because of that, I would like to invite all the faculty member for Siliwangi University to join with Kedai Reka. So the money is there. They are waiting for your research to be implemented in a community. Okay. So the sixth indicator, cooperation between study program with international level partner. So now the collaboration you have to focus is really with the QS rank 100 by subject. So if you have really very good in agribusiness study program, try to find a partner QS rank in field of agribusiness. So you will get the really good quality in terms of the success indicator in higher education transformation. The seven, collaborative and participative class. So now is, if you would like also to arrange the learning process in your university, do not be the load learning as a faculty member. Please be a facilitator for your student. Why? Because this is the collaborative learning and participative class. So because of that, you have to really in touch as a facilitator, not as a load. So because of that, I would like also to implement our collaborative learning and participative class using multidisciplinary approaches. So you have to communicate with other study program, and then please try to divine or identify the problem in your university or in your major, in your district. After you get the problem, after you identify the problem, you try to communicate with the multidisciplinary process and then try to find out the solution for your district. And then after that, the solution you have to implement in your district. So the Siliwangi University is really very useful for kota or kabupaten Tasikmalaya. So if you are really be a solution in Kabupaten Tasikmalaya and Kota Tasikmalaya, so the mayor will be very falling in love to Siliwangi University. So every single project will be collaborate with Siliwangi University. I'm really sure you can do that collaboration with Pemda Kabupaten or Kota Tasikmalaya. And then the 8th indicator, international standard for the study program. If you already good in the very specific field, such as like e-commerce, so you can also try to reach the study program with the international standard. And then we will also give you the support from Direktorat Kelembagaan to improve the quality standard of study program to be the international standard. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the 8th moda of Kampus Merdeka to increase the relevancies between curriculum in Siliwangi University with the industrial need. So you can set up the student exchange, internship, teaching assistant, research collaboration, community services, independent project, entrepreneurial activities, and humanitarian project. So because now still in the COVID-19 pandemic, please every faculty member, every student for Siliwangi University have to be agent of change of new normal life, and then you have also to be a agent of change to disseminate the 3M, memakai masker, menjaga jarak, dan sering mencuci tangan. So ladies and gentlemen, this is the conclusion of the technology that we would like to implement in our higher education Directorate General. So if we would like to have the creating individual who is religious, noble, healthy, knowledgeable, competent, creative, independent, skill, and become democratic, as well as responsibility, really high responsibility, and beneficial for our nation. So we have to set up our curricula together with the industry. After that, you can have the implementation of curricula using our participative class. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the technology that we always would like to implement in Directorate of Higher Education. The first one, the first step on 2014, we have the credit transfer. It's really only 4,000 students. And then every year we and we have also credit transfer with the other university in ASEAN, but until 2018, we really expansion the technology in terms of the online learning using our SPADA. And then our SPADA use for credit transfer, hybrid learning, as well as today we can use SPADA as our LMS to facilitate the student in era of COVID-19 pandemic. Ladies and gentlemen, on 2020 until 2024, we would like to set up our learning management system using our SPADA Indonesia for micro credential. And then we will facilitate 8 million students for next year. So because of that, if you would like to implement the 8th mode of Campus Merdeka, do not miss your SPADA Indonesia. Because using your SPADA Indonesia, you can communicate with other university in Indonesia as well as in outside of Indonesia to have the micro credential. Next year, we will offer the micro credential for free, and then we collaborate with Google, with EWS, as well as with Huawei. The faculty member who are passed the courses from 3 provider that I mentioned before. So that means you will get also opportunity to have the faculty member extend to China and to other country. So because of that, don't miss SPADA and micro credential support from Mas Menteri. Ladies and gentlemen, this is SPADA. So now SPADA is already used by SPADA is already used by more than 80,000 students, but at the end of this year, 1 million students can use the SPADA Indonesia. Hopefully, this is very useful also for our new normal on 2020. Because of that, we work very hard to facilitate our student and lecturer to make our student better and better. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the beyond our online learning, beyond our online learning. So blessing for our God that COVID-19 giving meaning to education at the time crisis. So online learning implemented by 89% of students, and then we have more than 15,000 research, and after that we can also educate the student. So our student is more than 80,000 be a volunteer for COVID-19. That is also very awesome, because the student is really eager to help our nation. So student volunteering on many project activities to mitigate COVID-19. They make the disinfectant, they make also the disinfecting, try to disinfect public area, also conducting research related to COVID to help the faculty member. This is the lesson learned of COVID-19. Rapid adaptation to use technology in delivery online courses, and then work from home is not less productive than work at the office. Creative energy during pandemic is amazing. Thousands of invention and innovation resulted, and then gotong royong spirit is very strong in Indonesia. So ladies and gentlemen, this is the lesson learned from our COVID-19. So COVID-19 is not at all be 100% negative thing, but some of the COVID-19 pandemic also give us the opportunity to have the lesson learned in terms of the many innovation and acceleration of the online learning and hybrid learning. So Ibu Dea Silvani, thank you very much for your attention. Ladies and gentlemen, again, thank you very much for your attention. Hopefully, we are ready to face the new normal on 2020, and then we would like to facilitate you using our LMS pada Indonesia for 1 million student, and then that is free for our beloved student and lecturer. Thank you very much. Billahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much for Ibu Dr. Paris for your amazing presentation. There are some points that I highlight from your presentation, such as, of course, COVID-19 is the mega disruptor in this year. Ya, betul, Bu. Kemudian, however, the government has planned for applying hybrid learning, which will be applied in 2020, and hopefully it can run successfully. And then besides, Ibu Dr. Paris also encourage us to join Kedai Reka in order to make our research become more useful for the community. And besides the government, we also face the challenge given by the government to apply Merdeka Belajar and also Kampus Merdeka. And we are also encouraged to don't miss Pada. Yeah, because it will enable us to communicate with other university around Indonesia. And then, however, in spite of the bad effects of COVID-19, there are also some lessons learned, as Ibu Dr. Paris mentioned earlier, that such as students can also participate in creating invention and innovation related to COVID-19, by which the creative energy during during the pandemic also show increasing numbers and so on and so forth. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have arrived at Q&A session, and from chat box, I have a question from Ibu Visi Tintamanik from Siliwangi University. Yeah, the question is addressed to Professor Masaji Watanabe. All right, the first question for Professor Watanabe. I am not from mathematics department, but I'm really wondering about the impact of using the formula into the effectivity of biodegradation process. How can we use the formula into the process? Professor Watanabe? Professor Watanabe, would you like to answer the question from our participant?
Yeah.
Right. Should I repeat the question, sir?
Okay. What are your question? I'm not.
In the chat box, sir, we can find that the question is from Ibu Visi.
Use into the process. Process. Research being applied in field. How is it? Yeah. Okay. For the Jew research, use modify strain of these microbes actually having a plastic. I'm not from question one. We showed you. We tried some biodegradation processes for polyethylene and polyethylene glycol and also for biodegradation processes for enzymatic degradation for polyvinyl alcohol polylactic acid. So we can, for other polymers, I think we have, if there are data, then we can apply those techniques to other polymers. And that's my answer to question one. Okay.
The second question, sir.
Second, do your research being applied in the field? How the result? Those samples are were obtained from the field. So, but experiment has been done in so the experiment has been done. So we applied to applied our result. We compared our numerical result and experimental results, and those results are acceptable. I think they are acceptable. That's my second answer to second question. Third, okay.
Right, sir. There is another question still from Ibu
Did your
Visi.
research use generally modified strain, or those microbes actually have natural ability to degrade plastic? It depends on degradability of microorganisms. Depend on microorganisms and the enzyme they produce, and also they depend on molecular weight. If it's some microorganisms can biodegrade, but degrade small molecules, but not without being able to biodegrade large molecules. So that's my answer to question 3.
Thank you so much, Professor, for your answer. Hopefully, it can answer your question, Ibu Visi. And then, actually, Ibu Dr. Paris said that she has to attend another meeting. However, there is a question for Ibu Paris from Paromi. I would like to ask a question for Bu Paris regarding Kadaireka program. The proposal project submitted is actually for single person as well as lecturers or for institution? Ibu Dr.
Actually,
Paris.
I have answered that question. So the proposal to Kadaireka could be submitted by person and also by institution. So please join with the Kadaireka. So the platform is kadaireka.id. Yeah, the kadaireka.id. You can also submit your research as well as your group of research in your university to join with the Kadaireka, and then 13 million US dollar is waiting for you. Okay, thank you very much. I have to attend the other meeting because Papa didn't ask me to assign as DG in that. So thank you very much for your attention. And then Professor Watanabe, nice to meet you. And then hopefully we can collaborate in the future.
Nice to meet you.
Yes, nice to meet you, sir. We can collaborate our future because your Ministry of MIC will sign the memorandum of understanding with my minister on December 12th. And then our Kadaireka platform in terms of the innovation will join and merge with the innovation platform from Japan. So, Professor Masaji, thank you very much for awesome presentation, and then we are really very love to collaborate with you. Thank you. Bye bye.
Okay. Bye bye.
All right. Thank you so much for Ibu Dr. Paris and also for Professor Masaji Watanabe. Dear participants, are you still have questions? Do you still have questions for our speakers? Silahkan kepada partisipan Bapak Ibu. Bila ada yang ingin ditanyakan, silahkan ditulis di dalam chat box. We still have for about 8 minutes for this Q&A session. So for the participants who wants to ask the question to our speaker, we still have Professor Masaji Watanabe here. You can you can type your question in the chat box. There is a question from Pak Ismarwan to Ibu Dr. Paris. Ibu Dr. Paris, are you still with us?
Sudah keluar.
Right. Mohon maaf sekali Bapak, Ibu Paris harus menghadiri another meeting. Untuk pertanyaannya mungkin belum bisa kita sampaikan pada kesempatan kali ini. Silakan kepada partisipan yang lain barangkali, if you have any questions to Profesor Masaji Watanabe. We are still waiting for the participants who wish to participate in this Q&A session. So ladies and gentlemen, you may type your question in the chat box. All right, we still have question for Professor Watanabe from Ibu Visi. Are these formula can generate into another model, such as for a fermentation process to produce certain metabolite?
Fermentation. One of my students tried fermentation processes with different model. So, but they can, so those models can be applied to fermentation processes also. Okay.
So your answer is it can also be applied for fermentation processes.
Yes.
Is that true? All right. Thank you so much, Professor Watanabe, for your answer. The participants. All right, sir. Do you have still? Do you have another question, ladies and gentlemen, participants of SICIR? All right, ladies and gentlemen, because there is no more question for our participants, finally we came to the end of this session. And thank you for the speakers, especially for Professor Masaji Watanabe. Thank you so much for joining us in the third Siliwangi International Conference on Innovation in Research in 2020. And also thank you for all the participants, for those who have participated, especially in Q&A session. And hopefully the information that we shared together today can be useful for us all. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Back to the Master of Ceremony.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the first session has finished. For the next agenda, I invite the next moderator to accompany the next keynote speakers. Mrs. Vera Sulastri MPD, please.
Okay, thank you for Master of Ceremony for giving me a chance to be the moderator today. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to the second session of this talk in SICR 2020. I'm here, Vera Sulastri, as the moderator, will be the moderator for the second session. And in this session, we have two speakers. First, we have Bapak Irianto Safari, Master of Science from Smart City Audio Visual Artificial Intelligence Singapore. And also we have Ibu Dr. Ida Hudiah, Insinyur MP from Siliwangi University. As the previous rules for this session, every speaker will deliver their material for 40 minutes, and then we will have Q&A session for 10 minutes. Okay, without further ado, let's go to the first speaker, Bapak Irianto Safari MSc. But before that, I would like to share you his curriculum vitae. Okay, I would like to share screen. Bapak Irianto Safari is from Smart City Audiovisual Artificial Intelligence Singapore, and his fields of interest and expertise is in alternative energy, air conditioning engineering, and project management. And his education, he has so many kinds of graduation here and the latest is from University of Massachusetts in Lowell, from Master of Science in Energy Engineering. And he also got academic scholarship from American Society of Heating, Refrigerating, and Air Conditioning from Northeast Chapter USA. And here is his professional certification in air conditioning, testing, balancing, and commissioning. And also he has many kinds of professional experiences in engineering and also in senior mechanical engineering, and the latest in October 2016 to August 2020 and senior mechanical engineer in ECOM SPTE Ltd Act. And here are the selected project. Wow, amazing. There are a lot of projects here. If I read all of them, maybe it would take an hour to read it. So let's skip, and you can see here, one of them is from Aviation Works and many and so on. And he also has teaching experience as a part-time teacher in Indonesian School Singapore from 2008 to 2019. And well, he also has been invited to many kinds of seminar and also conference and webinar. Let's see here, there are a lot of seminars such as invited speaker on optimization of Minangkabau International Airport by the government of West Sumatra Provincial Government in 2004. And the latest one is from organized by Padang Pariaman West Sumatra Indonesia seminar on health. Okay, this is also the same seminar as us because of the pandemic become the webinar, and this seminar is on solar energy. And here also is research work and feasibility studies, an area in floating PV panels for earthquake prone areas for University of Andalas joint research program 2020, which was accepted. And also he has many kinds of community activities, such as the latest one, he was current corporate board member, People Association in 2008 to present. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, because I think you are very curious about what he would like to deliver today. So I would like to give the chance to Mr. Irianto Safari for the talk. Okay, Mr. Irianto Safari, the Zoom floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I want to thank you, the university, for inviting me to this conference. And let me share my screen here. Okay, can you see my screen?
Okay, sir.
Okay. Well, my topic will be about waste to energy technology. I have presented this topic before at the for University of Andalas. Okay, let me get this. Okay, there you go. But why do we consider WTE? WTE is short for waste to energy. is considered as a renewable energy because its source, which is waste or rubbish or garbage, is never going to finish. I mean, as long as there are humans on Earth, humans will always generate waste, and hence it will never finish. There are different types of renewable energy. You have solar, you have wind, geothermal, hydropower, wave energy. These are some of the types of renewable energy. Of course, there are some others besides this. So what is actually waste to energy? It is actually the process of generating energy from to produce electricity, and also hence producing some heat from the waste that primarily from the treatment of the waste. And sorry. Okay, this waste to energy process is it's, I wouldn't say it's new, but then it's not a lot of people know about this. And with this process, the volume of waste that is usually quite large can be reduced, and whereby it will produce cleaner renewable energy. And also it will reduce the greenhouse gas emission, which cause global warming. Okay, and how much does it reduce? Usually 1 ton of waste is converted to energy, which can reduce 1 ton of carbon dioxide emission to the air. So every ton of waste that is converted in this process, we are seeing the reduction of 1 ton of carbon dioxide in the air. This is typically what goes into our garbage. Mostly it's paper, which is 38%, and you have others, food, wood, plastic, and a few other things, metals, and whatever it is. This is just a typical composition of garbage. Okay, so when we use waste to energy to produce electricity, how is it differ from the normal practice that is being used in all power plants to produce electricity? Actually, the principle is still the same. What we are changing here is, instead of using oil, gas, or coal as the fuel source to produce electricity, we are substituting them with waste. So there are roughly about seven steps to do this. Firstly, of course, you have to collect the waste from the area, probably around the city, and all the waste are being collected by garbage trucks, and will be and all these garbage trucks will go to the incineration plant, whereby all this waste will be collected and dumped into a combustion chamber, where it is all these waste are heated to produce high pressure and high temperature, usually about 100 degrees Celsius. Why do we need to produce high temperature and high pressure? It's because usually power plants use steam turbines to produce electricity, and the word steam is there. Hence, we have to use water to heat up the water to produce steam, to turn the turbines to produce electricity. Oops. And of course, with this process, there is a side effects, which is the air pollution, which we have to control. We have to remove all the composition of air pollution before it is released to the atmosphere. Ash is collected from the boiler, and the air pollution and there is, as I said earlier, the air pollution control system. This is a simple graphic of what I just mentioned. You have the waste, the garbage which is collected and dumped into the collection pit here. And you have, usually there's a crane which will take all this garbage to the combustion chamber where it's heated. And here, this part here is a recycling process whereby water is heated to produce steam, to turn the steam turbines to produce electricity. And the steam is collected and is go through a cooling process to condense, to collect back as water, and again it's being heated. They're using the same water when after it's become steam. And there's another process here for heat recovery where the heat generated from the steam turbine can be used. Well, it's not in our place here because we don't use heating for homes, but probably in tropical climates you will use the heat recovery system here for heating homes. Anyway, other than for heating homes, you can use this heat recovery for other processes. And this is on the byproducts, the dry ash and the bottom ash. Some of the byproducts can be used for aggregate, which is usually to be used for roads, to make roads as a sub-base for the roads. Metals, or sometimes you can also use them for water pipes. And here is the process of cleaning the process before it's released to the atmosphere. You have scrubbers, you have electronic air precipitators, EAC, electronic air cleaners, to clean all the dirt before it's released to the atmosphere. Because if you don't do this, you will pollute the atmosphere, and the process of WTE is instead of renewable clean energy, it's turns out to be polluting the air, which we do not want. There are a few methods of WTE. Type 1 is the incineration. It's the combustion of organic material, such as waste with energy recovery, which I just described just now. Type 2 is the thermal technologies, gasification, which is a normal. This is usually this is being used. And then they have a thermal depolymerization. I won't go into details of these processes because it will take time. I'm just highlighting the types. We have pyrolysis, and lastly, the plasma gasification process. And type 3 is a non-thermal, which is anaerobic digestion. This is normally used. Usually, when this is used, the byproduct will be methane and can be used for gas. And the other one is fermentation, and another one is mechanical biological treatment. Okay, what is gasification? It is normally used, and it's a process that converts biomass, which is the waste, into carbon monoxide, hydrogen, and carbon dioxide. This is achieved by reacting the material at high temperature, usually 700 degrees Celsius, and will produce a resulting gas mixture, which is called synthetic gas. And the power from this gasification and combustion of the resultant gas is considered to be a source of renewable energy. Usually for any technology, there will be risks and problems which we need to address them. But I will highlight some of the risks and the problems with WTE. What are the pros, the advantages of this? That is to reduce the volume of waste to landfills. I will talk about landfills later on. Of course, you need this to produce electricity. It destroys toxins. Where do the toxins come from? It come from the waste that are being collected. By burning the waste, you indirectly destroy the toxins. And for this advantage, air pollution, well, if you take care of the air pollution, this disadvantage will disappear. Dust containing heavy metals, again, when you treat this process properly, this dust containing heavy metals will also be reduced. High construction costs. What does this mean? This means the construction of the WTE incinerators. Anyway, this high construction cost, if you work out the ROI, you will pay back by itself in a few years' time, depending on how big the incinerator that you want to build. And the other one is the health issues. These health issues is connected to the air pollution. You take care of this air pollution, these health issues will go away. Side effect, as I mentioned earlier, if you don't treat the effluent coming out from the WTE process, you will pollute the environment, the air pollution. Anyway, modern incinerators, we have a very state-of-the-art technology and equipment to overcome these problems, which is, as I mentioned earlier, using scrubbers, electrostatic precipitators, fabric filters, which all these have to be installed in the system to eliminate the heavy metals before being released to the atmosphere. And dust from burning of the waste will not contaminate in the earth if the landfill is well constructed. Again, I will talk about the landfill later. This is a simple diagram showing you the pollution control for the WTE. You have one nitrogen oxide removal system, which is done here. And two, this is all the mercury dioxide removal system, and you have the acid gas removal system, particulate removal system, and finally, before it's being released to the air, you have a pollution control test. And all these ashes will be brought to the landfill. As you can see here, this much waste, which is usually being transported to the landfill, with this WTE process, this huge waste is only will become only a small waste be able to be carried by truck. This is the major advantage of WTE. You don't you don't dump all this waste in the landfill or in the open dumpster. I'll talk a little bit about the WTE technology in Singapore. These are the data a bit few years ago. Data in 2010, Singapore produces 6.5 million tons of waste, and in 2011, it increased to 6.9 million tons of waste, which translate to 1,330 kilogram of waste per person. Okay, in Singapore, there are 9 waste collection sectors, all these areas, and there are 4 waste collection companies that will go around every day to collect waste. This is the typical composition of MSW, which is municipal solid waste from a 2007 data. You have plastic 22.8%, paper 22.7%, food almost 20%, and you have timber and textile and others. Okay, where are these 4 incinerators in Singapore located? These are the areas. I'll go one by one. First, this is the first WTE incinerator in Singapore, operating from 1978 to the year 2009. It burns 1,100 or 1.1 kilotons of waste per day and produces 5,000 megawatts of electricity per month. I think before start of this seminar, there was a video trailer about Tasik Malaya, and then I think Tasik Malaya produces about 1,800 tons of waste per day. So it's slightly more than what this Ulu Pandan incinerator is capable. And this is a much bigger plant, and it started operating in the year 2000 until present, still operating, and it burns 3,000 tons of waste per day and produces 80 megawatt of electricity. Another one also in Tuas area, operating since 2010, burns 1,700 tons of waste per day and produces 30 megawatts of electricity. Another one started in 1992, burns 2,400 tons of waste and produces 56 megawatts of electricity. And another one here, I think this is the 4th one, in 2009, quite a bit smaller, 800 tons per day and 20 megawatts of electricity. This is the graphic representation of the Keppel Seegers incinerator. All the processes from the right, dumping of waste, collection of waste, burning of waste, and finally all these systems here to control the air pollution. Byproducts. I'm gonna touch a little bit on the byproducts. You can use to manufacture pipes, and also use aggregate to make roads as a sub base. Okay. Of course, there are other byproducts, which if I want to talk about that, will take some time. So I'll just highlight these 2 items only for now. Landfill. Okay. In Singapore, we have one landfill which is as an island south of Singapore. It's called Pulau Semakau, or Semakau Island. It's operational in 1999. Area is about 350 hectares. It has a capacity of 64 million cubic meters and a lifespan of 46 years from 1999. The target is to get 1.1 kilogram per day per person. To target to reduce the waste from 1.1 kilogram per day per person to 0.9 kilogram per day per person. Construction cost of the landfill is 610 million Singapore dollars. It's planned in 1990s and it's already in operation. It's also used not as a landfill but as an education and a research center, and it's also a recreation area. It is open to public. The island is open to public, but the landfill is not. But anyway, you can go to the island with permission to look into the research center and the education center. Construction started 95, and as I said earlier, it's operational now since 1999. It has 2 phases. Phase 1 consists of 11 cells, and will be used till 2045. So we have about 25 more years to go. And after that, we'll be in phase 2, which is the planning has not been done yet. Okay, each cell can contain up to 2,000 waste that cannot be burned. Okay, so from the incinerator, those waste that cannot be burned will be brought over to this landfill. And the construction of each cell is covered with sand, concrete, and wrapped with impermeable membrane. This is important, impermeable membrane, so that it prevent all this leachate from harming the environment, seeping through the earth. And also each cell has a station to monitor the environment, so that we will be able to have a clean environment. As I mentioned earlier, this island is also for recreation area. Hence, you have it's open to public. So we need to take care of the environment, so that people can bring in with their families, with their children, to enjoy the island. So this island is a mixture for landfill, for education, for research, and for recreation. Okay, in 2007, WTE produces 3% of all electricity consumption in Singapore. It burns total of 2.38 million tons of waste, and it produces 404 kilowatt hour of electricity per ton of waste burned. So what's the difference between landfill and open dump? Okay, landfill has a construction, as I mentioned earlier just now, for this Pulau Semakau, we have cells, and all these cells are there to prevent leachate from polluting the earth. And the leachate is also being treated before it's released to the environment. Whereas for open dump, there's no such treatment. It's just you just dump your garbage on the earth and leave it there, like this. This is an open dump, and it's a source of methane gas emission to the air, which has a potential of global warming 20 times more than carbon dioxide gas. Health issues, of course, when you have open dumps like that, it is open to the environment. It opens to people. Of course, once you have that, you have health issues to everyone living near the area. You do not know what type of wastes are being done by people, and you have not only the acids or whatever it is. It's also some broken glasses, which can we can hurt people, hurt animals. And that is very bad for open dumps situation. This is another one. One of the outcomes of overflowing garbage is air pollution. So when you have open dump, there's no way for you to treat the air pollution. It's just being released to the atmospheres just like that. Again, not only air pollution for open dump, there's also water pollution, because the liquid waste will be easily seeped into the ground and will affect all the ecosystems surrounding the open dump area. Can plastic waste produce electricity? This is some people have asked me about this question. So the answer is yes. We have some scientists at the National Technological University in Singapore. They have come up with a way whereby plastic waste can be turned into renewable energy. what it is done is that it is converted to a plastic into formic acid, a chemical that can be used to generate electricity in power plants and electric cars. I've not delved into this technology yet, so I can't say much about how it is being done. Okay, in conclusion, WTE is one of the waste disposal methods, and as I mentioned earlier, people sometimes associate this with some negative connotations because of the emission of the emission issues of air pollution. The key advantage of this is that in addition to serving the waste management community as a final disposal method, it also contributes to the energy sector by being an energy source. So it has two advantages. One is the reduction of the waste, and two, production of electricity. Okay, I think that is about my my presentation. If there's anything else you can ask me.
All right, thank you, sir, for the very clear explanation and also very fruitful about WTE. Before going to the Q&A session, we would like to go to the second speaker, perhaps later after the second speaker deliver the speech or the talk. We will have Q&A session. So I think, Mr. Rianto, would you like to wait patiently before after the second speaker deliver the talk?
Sure.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go to the next presentation. I would like to invite Ibu Dr. Ida Hodia. But before that, I would like to give you some share about her curriculum vitae. So I would like to share my screen. Today we have Ibu Dr. Ida Hodia, Insinyur MP. She is the Dean of Agriculture Faculty from Siliwangi University. Her skills and expertise in agrotechnology, natural-based pesticides, horticulture, and also organic farming. And she has been active in the Committee of Perhimpunan Agronomi Indonesia, and also a member of Asosiasi Mycorrhiza West Java, member of Perhimpunan Agronomi Indonesia West Java. She graduated from Pajajaran University on School of Agriculture, and here are the last publication, and the latest one is from in 2019 about design of biogas digester with thermophilic pretreatment for reducing food waste, and it has been delivered or presented in international or has been written in International Journal of Recycling of Organic Waste in Agriculture in 2019. And also she has many kind of publication in efficacy pestisida nabati, pengendalian penyakit anthracnose pada tanaman cabai, and so on. All right, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I would like to invite Ibu Dr. Ida Hodia, and the Zoom floor is yours.
Udah.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good noon, the Honorable Rector, Chairperson of Institute of Research, Community Service and Education Quality Assurance, the distinguished invited speakers, and our dear participants. First of all, I would like to thank the organizing committee and also the moderator for the opportunity to share my current research on this international conference. The team consists of my fellow lecturer, Elia Hartini and Visi Tintamani, yes, and the alumni of Agrotechnology Department, Arina Salma. Yes. Our research topic about application of plant-based pesticide on people pathogen, especially the major fungi which cause a high loss
Belum share screen.
and people production in our country. I know everybody in this Zoom room must be familiar with this fruit, pepper. Yeah. Is one of the essential horticultural crops that can be cultivated in the lowlands and highlands. Peppers can be harvested several times during their life cycle. Yes. It has high economic value because people can use it for various purposes. Yes. It's also potential as an export commodity. However, plant diseases are the main factor reducing yield in pepper. Yes. Coleotrichum acutatum, Phytophthora capsicum, and Pythium, yes, are the major pathogenic fungi attacking root, leaves, stem, and fruit at either pre or post harvest stage. Yes. C. acutatum, known as anthracnose pathogen of fever fruit, sporulates quickly and extensively, then spread extensively and rapidly throughout the crop, causing yield loss up 100%. Yes. Doctora capsicum is estimated effect vegetable loss up to 25%, yes, when the weather favors. Yes. But Pythium sp calls dumping out resulted 90% of planted either before or after growing in the nursery and in field condition. Yes. And then chemical pesticides are often used to control plant disease. Yes. There are various kinds of synthetic fungicides. Yes. The use of various kinds of synthetic fungicide to control pathogen has been described due to their effect on resulting resistant strain and also harmful to environment and human health. Therefore, plant-based pesticides are believed to be more eco-friendly and less hazardous than synthetic fungicide due to its low toxicity, high degradability, and multiple action mechanism. One of plant-based pesticides is essential oil. Yes. Essential oil is plant-derived active compound that has been reported to have antimicrobial activity against pathogen. Yes. And clove oil is one of the essential oil derived from clove plant, and clove oil extracted from fallen leaves offer useful option for plant protection management. Yes. Clove oil has antimicrobial activity due to its major compounds such as xenobiotic, caryophyllene, and xenyl acetate. Yeah. It has been shown to inhibit the growth of Penicillium digitatum and cause the morphological change. Yes. Several authors, yes, have shown the positive effect of this clove oil against pathogen. Yes. However, the literature on its effect against three major people pathogens is still limited. Yes. Especially against Pythium. Yes. Our study evaluated the effect of clove oil against Cholectotrichum acutatum, Phytophthora capsicii, and Pythium. Yes, the method is curriculum acutatum, Phytophthora capsicii, and Pythium, yes, were provided by Vegetable Research Center, yes, Balai Penelitian Tanaman Sayuran, ya, di Lembang. GCMS analysis were performed by Indonesian Institute of Science. We conducted this analysis to ensure the content of clove oil which we distillated. Yes. And pathogenicity test was carried out by different methods, adjusting to pathogen nature to explore pathogenic potential, yes, of the isolate that used in this study. First, fruit, leaves, seeds of pepper were sterilized. Then the pepper fruits were inoculated by of the C. ectotatum conidial suspension on the surface injured site, yes, and the lip dry, yes, the lip dry. The seed which infested by Pythium sp, yes, yes. Yeah. And the lips were inoculated in 4 locations across its underside with agardis, yes, cut of P. capsici colonies. Inoculum of Pythium sp was infested on sterilized soil, yes, and then incubated, yes. After that, fever seed was planted on the media, and then the symptoms were observed. IC50 value was analyzed to determine clove oil concentration for further in vitro assay. Yes. And the 4 days, all pathogen mycelia, these were inoculated on PDA medium with different clove oil concentration, and then inoculated at the room temperature. Yes, the colony diameter was recorded every day. Yes. And the effect of different concentration of clove oil against Coletotrichum ecotetum, Phytophthora capsici, and Pythium were determined by poison food method with slightly modification. Yes, and clove oil was incorporated into PDA medium at the site concentration of clove oil was obtained from IC50 value 1.5 time IC value and 2 time IC value. Yes. Furthermore, the 4 days of its mycelia, this was inoculated into media and was deposited into the center of the plate. Yes. And then a complete randomized design was used. Yes, consists of at least 6 replicates. Data were analyzed using one-way ANOVA followed by Duncan's multiple ring test at 5% of p-value level. Yes. The result, yes. The data in above table show the value of IC50 analysis, which is furthermore as a benchmark for determining concentration for in vitro assay. Yes. Different pathogen shows different value. Yes. Therefore, the concentration for in vitro assays is different depending on the pathogen. Yes. Next. The antifungal effect of clove oil against C. acutatum, P. capsicum, and Pythium are given in table 4, yes, and page 1, yes. All the concentration of clove oil showed inhibitory effect against given pathogen. Yes. From table 4, it can be seen that the higher concentration of clove oil given to its pathogen, the lower mycelial growth rate. Yes. And the inhibition rate of its pathogen is increases. The ability of clove oil to inhibit pathogenic growth because of the chemical compound of its clove oil. Yes, and the clove oil consists of xenol and caryophyllene. Yes, xenol can inhibit pathogenic sporulation by deactivating essential enzymes and reaction on cell membranes by a mechanism that involve inhibition of ergosterol biosynthesis from test fungi. Yes. But caryophyllene have a large enough effect as antifungal compounds by changing the membrane function as surfactants and disrupting the work of the plasma membrane. Yes. The effect of clove oil to depress mycelial growth can be seen clearly on the picture. Yes, we can see the diameter of colony for its pathogen. Yes, is smaller along with increasing concentration of clove oil. Yes, and From the picture, we can see from the size of colony, yes. See, Exogenous show the highest tolerance to clove oil, yes, because even at higher concentration compare with concentration of clove oil which applied to Phytophthora and Pythium, the size of the Exogenous colony is still wider. Yes. Conclusion, yes. In accordance with earlier report, the result of recent work suggests that clove oil can be applied to prevent the major pathogenic fungi in people, namely the Exogenous, Capsicum, and Pythium. The best concentration for each pathogen obtained at concentration ring from 100 to 340 ppm. Yes. Further research is needed to ensure the effectivity of clove oil against this pathogen in the field. Yes. And acknowledgement, the authors would like to extend their appreciation to the University of Siliwangi for its funding the research. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Ibu Dr. Ida Hodia, for a very fruitful presentation. So, ladies and gentlemen, today we have ended the second session of the talk. Before we have the first presenter, it is about WTE, and the second one is about the effect of clove oil on pepper pathogen. Actually, there are 10 minutes for Q&A session, but maybe we will have more than 10 minutes to do this. I would like to check the chat box, and I would like to remind you also, all participants, if you have any questions, you can just simply type on the chat box. All right, let's begin the Q&A session. We have many questions here. Let's see in the chat box. The first question from Ibu Nurul Risti Mutiasari, addressed to Mr. Irianto Safari. What should be considered in implementing WTE and choosing the best WTE type? That's the first question. Maybe you would like to answer
yeah.
it first. Okay.
Okay, to implement WTE, there are a few factors you need to take a look first. Firstly is that how much electricity you need to generate. For example, in your town of Tasikmalaya, how much electricity that you need. We just put a figure for discussion's sake. Maybe you need 100 watts per day. So to get 100 watts per day, you need to work it back to see how much waste you can collect. There is a formula to do this. I don't have it here with me. Anyway, you have to look into those two factors: amount of electricity you need and amount of waste that you can collect per day. Another thing that you need to consider is how are you going to collect this waste. You need to have a system to have an efficient way to collect waste every day from the homes, residential homes, or from factories, industries, or from any commercial buildings, and gather them to the incinerator. Secondly is you're choosing the best WTE type. I think what you are asking here the process of WTE, which is the best type. There is no best type. There are few types, as I mentioned earlier: gasification, anaerobic digestion, pyrolysis. It depends on, again, what do you want to have a byproduct, because all these process will have different byproducts. Gasification, can have a byproduct of methane gas, which can be used for residential use, maybe for home cooking. Yeah, one of them. And then the other process will be used for other byproducts. And the other question is, do I jump into the other question, or because you have another question here, is the risk?
Yes, the second
Okay.
question,
Okay.
probably you would like to answer it directly, or should I
Yeah.
read it for you? No,
No, it's okay. I can read it
Okay.
for here.
Yeah.
It says, she's asking the risk of air pollution, and because it affects health and environment. As I mentioned in my presentation, yes, this is the side effects. However, you can control this, or you can monitor the situation, and you can, I wouldn't say that you eliminate 100%, but you can reduce the effects of health and environment. You have to put in place the monitoring system and so-called the cleaning system, the use of scrubbers, use of electronic precipitators, and then you have to also put in place the system to test whether the particles that are being eliminated, being released to the environment, are they within the tolerance of the environmental regulation in that particular area. So in Tasikmalaya, I do not know what's the tolerance, or the what you call it, the guideline for emission of particles into the air. So you need to firstly you need to have that guideline, and then from there you work out the safety and monitoring process. Safety and monitoring systems to monitor this process. Okay, I think that will probably clear your query. And the other one is what is the WTE efficiency and whether it is economical or profitable. Okay, when you talk about WTE efficiency, you're talking about the efficiency to convert from the burning of the waste to electricity using, for this one, using steam turbines. But there's another method that using the CHP, which is the combined, let me see here, combined heat and power mode. Okay, usually for steam turbines, the E or the what you call it, the energetic efficiency is about 0.44. But however, if we use the CHP, it can go up to 0.6. And usually for the CHP, the steam produced is about 2,900 kilograms per hour. And hence it can go up to more than at least 0.6. So when I say 0.44 or 0.6 is a scale of 0 to 1, or you can say it from 0% to 100%. So probably it is equivalent to 0.44, probably is equivalent to 44%, 0.6 equivalent to 60%. So if you look at the percentage wise, it is not really that efficient because it's in the low percentages. However, you have to bear in mind that WTE has two goals. One is to reduce your waste, and the other one to produce electricity. So while producing electricity has its own efficiency, but you're also tackling your waste generated. If you do not burn your waste, what you're going to do with your waste? You're going to dump it, put it in a landfill, and let it there for years and years, and it will not reduce. It will just keep on dumping and dumping and dumping, and your open dam or wherever it is will be growing into a mountain. You're not tackling the issue. You're just dumping your waste. For this WTE, you're tackling the issue. You're reducing the waste. However, the efficiency part is to generate from steam to from burning of the waste to producing electricity is from 40 to 60%. Hope that answered the question.
All right, sir. I think you still have other question.
Oh yeah.
Lately, yeah, from Ibu Nisa Nur Nas. Does the waste have to be sorted first when processed using the WTE method? Is there any difference in the treatment of waste of using WTE method for different types of waste, like organic or non-organic medical waste? That's, I think it's for
Yes. Usually there is a sorting process for organic or non-organic. Usually for organic waste, the process, the WTE process, as mentioned earlier, there is this what you call it, the gasification or pyrolysis or whatever it is. Usually for organic, you use gasification. For non-organic, you have other type of processes. Medical waste, that is usually medical waste. You have to treat the medical waste first before you dump it. So so that means there's another process here before you dump the waste. Yeah, I think that will that answer the question?
Yeah, I think it's a very clear explanation. We will also have we still have another question from Ibu Nurul Risti Mutyasari. It is addressed to Ibu Ida Hodia. What are the advantages of clove oil from your research? Maybe Ibu Ida would like to answer that.
Yeah, thank you, Mrs. Nurul. Yeah, in fact, clove oil use in this study is obtained from home industries. Yes, that usually produce clove oil, and we use the pollen leaves to produce it.
All right, thank you, Ibu, for the answer. And we still have many times to do the Q&A discussion. To all participants, if you have some question to be addressed to the presenter, just simply type on the chat box. We are waiting for the other question, perhaps. Because there are no more questions addressed to the presenters, I think this is the end of the session, the second session of the talk. Thank you to the speakers, Ibu Ida Hodia and also Bapak Irianto Safari, for a very fruitful presentation and also very meaningful experience we got today. We have knowledge about WTE and also about the clove oil. Before ending this session, I would like to say so much apology for my mistakes for being this moderator, and hopefully we can see you in another occasion, an academic occasion another time. Thank you for your participation and your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Ditutup dulu.
All right, thank you so much for all the keynote speakers in this conference, and thank you so much for all the moderators. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we all have already done the third Siliwangi International Conference on Innovation in Research 2020 with the theme, The Challenges and Opportunities for Using Technology During the COVID Pandemic-19 Era, that held by Institute for Research, Community Services and Education Quality Assurance, Siliwangi University. Hopefully, this program will be a great experience for all of you, and it has been my pleasure to host this event. Before this event is ended, there will be closing speech that will be delivered by the head of Institute for Research, Community Services and Education Quality Assurance, Siliwangi University, the Honorable Dr. Haji Supratman, MPD. Please.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. All praise or due to Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, who has been giving us guidance, happiness, healthy, blessing, and mercy, so we can attend and participate in this event without any trouble and obstacle. In solution, upon our Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, we the last messenger, the best figure of the universe. Distinguished guests and ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the communities, it is my great pleasure and also my honor to be able to extend our honest thank you to you all. To attend the third Siliwangi International Conference on Innovation in Research, year 1990. Oneness, regard, and special thanks to all keynote speakers, Dr. Partiyanti Nurwardani, MP, Sekretaris Dirjen Dikti Kementerian Pendidikan dan Kebudayaan Republik Indonesia, Profesor Masaji Watanabe, PhD, Okayama University, Japan, Irianto Sapari, MSc, Smart City Audio Visual Artificial Intelligence, Singapore, and Dr. Hajah Ida Hodijah, MP, from Siliwangi University, Indonesia, who have already present and shared the brilliant idea with us related to the change and opportunities when use technology during the COVID-19 pandemic era. We do have, by attending this conference, we now know how to adapt technology into the learning process, how to implement it in our daily life, and how to overcome to the obstacles during the teaching and learning process. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, from the first up to the program we have done brilliantly, and I would say from the depths of my heart, as chairperson of the conference, we beg your pardon of the mistake we have made. Finally, on behalf of the organizing committee of the third Siliwangi International Conference on Innovation in Research, year 1990, I officially close the conference by saying Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Thank you very much for your kind attention. See you in the next year 2021. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
For all the participants and of course the keynote speakers in this room, please stay for a while because we would like to do photo session. I will count from 1 to 3. So get ready for everyone. And please, for all participants or keynote speaker, to turn on your camera. One, two, three. One more time, maybe. All right, one more time. One, two, three. All right, thank you so much for your, once again, okay? Give your best smile for our participant and of course the keynote speakers. This is the last photo. One, two, three. All right. Thank you very much for all the participants and keynote speaker and of course all the distinguished guests in this conference. Thank you so much for your kind attention. I wish you all a pleasant day. See you on the next agenda. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you.
Akses Mr. Supratman ya, kesempatan untuk ikut mengajar. Jadi
sukses panitia. Selamat.
Sukses Pak Supratman. Amin. Gering-geringan.
Sekara-kara. Enak kan publikasi.
Irianto, terima kasih Pak Irianto. Sudah dapat hadir.
Ya, terima kasih.
Bu Pita, terima kasih Bu Pita ya.
Ya, sama-sama Pak.